Hey everyone, it's Greg, and welcome back to another Dice Throne talk. Now that the first season of ranked play for Dice Throne has completed, Age of Destruction, I figured it'd be a good time to give my viewpoints on how the ranked play went. And for this first video, I am going to do a tier list of what characters I think are doing well, that should be banned. Actually, I'm going to go through these criteria here real quick. So, the top tier is your ban. If you're going to go up against one of these characters, you need to heavily consider banning that specific hero unless you know you have a counter to them. Next is, I'm going to call it meta, but this is your really strong overall. It's either going to help counter one of these banned characters, or it's going to be a way to counter a lot of different stuff. These are well played, hard to defeat. This is your really strong characters. Next is the right pilot. I am a full believer that Dice Throne characters overall are well balanced. However, ever so often they do come out with a slight balance change to change a couple characters to help them out a little bit. But honestly, at the end of the day, it takes the right pilot. It takes a person who knows how to use that character or just to play Dice Throne at that higher level. If you are playing with a banned or who I consider a bannable character, but you don't know how to play Dice Throne competitively, you may find that you're losing with them a lot and you don't understand why you're losing with such a strong character. And I would suggest playing more or looking up more material of how you can improve your game. But overall, you should be able to win uh, with these characters, even though they may not be as strong as these other characters. And then finally, we have challenge. So these characters are going to be really tough to win with. Not that it's going to be impossible, but tough. And it's really going to prove to you the necessity to play extremely well. The dice have to be very nice to you in order to win consistently with those characters. Just so y'all are aware, I was able to attend 5 events and was fortunate enough to win the national ranking. I was able to go to Plano, Texas, and San Antonio, Texas. We live in the area, and it was really convenient and fortunate for us to attend both. My wife, I believe she got 60th or 70th out of the tournament. So she's excited for the next season as well. And at the end, I will tell y'all who I brought for my team of 3. It only changed one time for the last tournament. So we're going to start things off here with the Barbarian. And this may be a surprise for a lot of people, but I believe in ranked play with a 30-minute time limit. And if you go down to 0 at the same time, you play one more round, and whoever has the most health at the end of that round, you win. Well, Barbarian is one of the few characters that can heal. So if you are going against an opponent who does, let's say, 3 damage to you, 4 damage to you, you could do Fortitude, heal 4, 5, 6, 7 damage, and then you still have more damage without ever attacking them, without activating their defense ability. It's extremely strong. Barbarian also has what I would determine the strongest status effect in the game, which is going to be stun. The ability to stun a hero multiple times is just extremely strong. Concussion is good too, and the ability to create dead cards in your opponent's hand by them drawing a what status effects. Bye bye, get that out of here, because that is useless with the barbarian to go against. Is also extremely strong in its own way. Next, we have the Moon Elf. Now, the Moon Elf, I would say, would be with the right pilot. I would almost put as a challenge. However, she does have good defense, meaning that she can roll 2 feet out of 5 dice and she can prevent half incoming damage. However, I can't tell you how many times I've rolled 3 arrows, 1 foot, and 1 6, and it can be extremely frustrating to not roll 2 feet. So she's also going to be relying on invasive abilities. Entangle and Blind are also extremely good status effects. So overall, she has a good repertoire of abilities. However, her rolling can be a little hard because she wants those sixes and she's a little greedy with getting those, whether it be exploding arrow, diminishing arrow, or demising shot, whatever it may be. And so she needs those targeteds on the opponent to increase that damage by that +2. So I think with the right pilot, you can do really well with the Moon Elf. Next, we have the Shadow Thief. Uh, he is between a ban and a meta for me. If you think that you really struggle against Shadow Thief and his shadows, then ban him. And I'm going to put him at the ban mainly because of his high offensive capabilities and also his resourcefulness. He can gain CP, he can draw cards outside of his top decking, he can get into shadows to prevent all incoming attack damage. Uh, he can be extremely strong. His one weakness is honestly that 30-minute timer. I have won a couple games going against Shadow Thief off of time because they couldn't get his engine going fast enough in order to beat me on health. And that is his really one weakness is the tournament rules itself of 30 minutes. So just be mindful of that. He's not great against uh, undefendable damage or high undefendable damage. Whoops. Sorry about that. And so just be careful of that. And everything got mixed around. That's all right. So next, we are going to go with the Monk. Monk, I think, is another bannable character that you need to watch out for. A really, really good Monk player will make it extremely tough for you because he is utility hero in terms of can go really strong defense or really strong offense. He can be defensively like a paladin or offense like a pyromancer with that chi, which can decide how he wants to play it. Evasive's also extremely strong to say no damage please. Inflicting knockdown to help keep opponents CP down. Uh, it can be really strong overall. Tempest Rush uh, can be extremely strong or extremely awful based on your rolls. So a lot of times people won't be messing with the dice to try to get an ultimate, but instead might send the dice to get a high Tempest Rush value. Next, we're going to have the Paladin. And the Paladin I'm going to put as meta. The reason why is his rolls are rough. He can really go against you at times, and sometimes you roll that retaliate when you already have retribution from last turn, so you really don't want to get that again, or you have to spend CP in order to get righteous combat, what have you. He can be really tough. However, his ability to do +4 attack and undefendable damage on, let's say, righteous combat or his small straight plus healing is a great, great counter to the Shadow Thief. I think Paladin is a great counter to him, as well as other characters that love their defensive roles. He is that character that can help counteract them. And so you're going to see a lot of people actually ban Paladin if they don't bring another auto ban. This is pretty much the first ban someone would choose if they don't bring one of these characters up here in the ban list. Next, we have Treant. Treant, he's going to be a challenge, in my own opinion. I didn't see him a whole lot in my 5 tournaments, and if he did, if he was brought, I never saw him in those final top 8 rounds either. He does well. He can heal with Wellspring, which is fine. It's a main phase ability, which isn't as good as healing on defense or healing through an ability, what have you. Uh, his ability to do undefendable damage using that Wellspring is nice. A little circumstantial getting that Wellspring out there, because do you want to use it for health or do you want to use it for the undefendable? His resourcefulness is good with getting the spirits out there, and his ability, the only character in the game to prevent the stun from happening, is also extremely strong. So you're really going to see that these maybe lower tier characters can be direct counters to specific other characters if you're afraid about going against them. However, he just struggles a lot. His complexity is really up there. I think it's a 5 or a 6. He is going to be a challenge for a lot of, especially newer players. Pyromancer, another ban. You can see that a lot of the Season 1 heroes, in my own personal opinion, they're going to be bans. They are strong, they are powerful, they know what they want to do, and they're pretty easy to roll for overall. Monk can have a hard roll at times, but Pyromancer, you upgrade Pyroblast and it's almost game over. You upgrade her defense ability and opponents don't want to attack her. And oh well, she got full fire mastery. Okay, combustion. Here is 12 undefendable, or if she has it upgraded, 16 undefendable damage, which is incredible. Uh, she does. She's a glass cannon. She is the epitome of offensive ability, and her defense is also hit. So, but again, who when I went up against Pyromancer, uh, Paladin is who I used, and it was I was in between. I think I'm 1-1 with Paladin versus Pyromancer. Uh, she is just extremely strong to use, and she was the as you can tell, the logo for Age of Destruction. Really really strong character at all, not too hard of a role either. And next we have Ninja. I think Ninja with the right pilot can really do well. I actually hate going against Ninja, mainly because her ability to re-roll dice outside of her cards is massive, and then able to roll for defense re-rolls, and then getting the smoke bombs, and then hitting the smoke bomb is about 50% chance. Excuse me, she can be extremely hard to hit. On top of that, she does unoffendable damage as well. Delayed poisons are good. Um, they're at the end of the turn rather than at the upkeep phase, which is fine because you're dealing 3 damage and you can stack. Uh, right with the right pilot, she can take you a very long ways, in my own opinion. Let's see, who else do we have here? That might be it for Season 1. So Season 2, let's go ahead and go with Samurai. Samurai is going to be your even kill. He's going to do really well against other right pilot characters or challenge characters, and then may struggle a little bit against these other meta band characters. He is your middle of the road. Uh, Honestly, if you are going to be choosing characters, I think Samurai is a great place to start to get you to learn how to play competitive Dice Throne, because part of his shtick, passive ability, is rolling twice. And really, you want to do that for ranked competitive play, is you don't want to roll more than twice on an offensive roll to prevent your opponents from manipulating your dice on that third roll, and then you're caught out of pocket, not able to re-roll, and you don't have any dice modifiers in your hand. He's really strong on offense, strong on defense. He's just your really good baseline character. Huntress is a challenge. I think right behind Paladin, she is, or I'm sorry, Paladin is right behind Huntress as the hardest roll for character. They did bump her up a bit with Nira as well. I think the idea is phenomenal. I think she's really cool overall. I just don't roll well with her, and I don't think a lot of people roll well with her. Her dice are hard. There's a reason why now on our leaflet, Nira can take 1 damage to reroll a die. There's a reason for that. Similar to Paladin, she needs those rerolls. But you also need Nira to live in order to get that additional damage, or for Nira to soak big damage, let's say against Pyromancer as well. So it's a high complexity, high challenging character. However, if you can master her, she can just do as well as anyone else. It's going to be a challenge. Artificer, he's tough. He is really, really, really tough to go against, and you need to consider banning him. Uh, if your opponent has these three characters, uh, they're looking to go all out blitz on you. They're going high offense. They're going. I don't care what your defense is like. I don't care what your offense is like. But if I hit you harder, you can go to zero first. Um, Artificer's companions can't be removed once they're out on the board, which is tough. Nanites can be good. A lot of late game shenanigans there as well. Shockbot is hard. His big weakness is, he wants to use heal bots, so you have to deal, I believe, 6 or more damage to Artificer for him to activate heal bot. Um, so as an opponent, I will want to make sure I'm dealing 5 or less, unless I'm dealing big damage. Otherwise, I'm only helping him out. But keep in mind, if he's not rolling heal bots, he's gaining more synth in order to use Nanite. He is a tough one overall. His base attack can deal like 11 damage, plus any other modifiers or nanites activating. He's a tough one, so just be mindful of him. His defense is a little lacking. He's just gaining synth, so you just gotta hit him hard as well. Gunslinger. I think with the right pilot, she can do really well. I know a lot of people think that she doesn't do well. She's too much of a gamble, but I think that's great for her shtick, her theme. She's a gambler. She's going to be rolling dice and forcing opponents to roll well in order to prevent her from doing what she wants to do. Michaela actually ran Gunslinger as one of her characters, and she is actually now, for people going against Michaela who knows her, Gunslinger is actually a ban for them. It's an automatic ban. They would rather see Cursed Pirate than Gunslinger. That's how that is for her. So again, I think with the right pilot, she can be extremely well. Bounty is phenomenal. You get +1 CP, +1 health. Her evasions, knockdown, reloads. She can do really well. It's just a little bit of a gamble. And I already mentioned her, so let's talk about Cursed Pirate. This is going to be a shocker for a lot of people here. She's meta. She is not an auto ban. She is not as good as these other characters. And now, do I think she's a little bit better than Shadow Thief? Yes. However, she has a detriment that Shadow Thief doesn't, and now they're any other characters, and that is her curse ability. Is that, and also the same issue of the tournament play of 30 minutes. She is going to be taking 4 damage every turn on her curse ability, which is what you would think would be fine because, yes, you're taking 4 damage, but you're upgrading all of your offense and defense abilities right away, which is phenomenal. But I can't tell how many times. Well, if I'm going against a Cursed Pirate, okay, if she's at 12 damage, I only need to do 8 damage. I don't need to do 12 or 15 or anything else like that. Actually, I've found Barbarian to be a nice opponent to go, a nice character to use to go against Cursed Pirate, because of his small straight of 8 undefendable damage. So you're doing 8 undefendable damage plus another 4 undefendable damage. That's 12. Now you're only looking at 4 turns. If she does turn over right away, it's tough. Honestly, I think. And health is everything in ranked play. At least it was for Age of Destruction. It was all about health and how much health you have left. Because even if maybe you've won, but maybe because you took that extra 4 damage, you got ranked lower in the top 8, or maybe you got kicked out of the top 8 even. Um, yeah, she's good, but she wants to turn over to get all those better abilities. But then when you do, you're now on a clock. And Paladin can turtle up, Monk can turtle up, Ninja smoke bombs away. I think she has a lot of enemies once she turns over. So I think that's a little controversial. I know her deck is phenomenal. She has a lot of good stuff. Has good offense capabilities. Um, in my last tournament, I actually beat her twice in a row. Um, she has weaknesses. Next, Vampire Lord. I think with the right pilot, she can do well. Um, let me see here. Let me go back to the rankings. I think it was maybe this gentleman here, Tyler Hughes. Let's see here. He got ranked 2, 2, and 3. And he used Vampire Lord. And he also used Moon Elf. Um, so I think with the right pilots, they can do well. Her ability to steal health instead of damaging health is a major change, a major subtlety to it all. Her ability to attack and heal that amount of damage is huge. Searching a card for her ultimate is also big. She can do a lot of good things. However, her defensive ability is not terribly strong. And I think Mesmerize is, in my own opinion, the absolute number one worst stats effect of the game. It is not consistent at all. The only thing it's good for is similar to the Treant, is for the large stray to make it undefendable. But otherwise, the ability itself is awful. Um, so she can do well with the right pilot. Tactician. I think again with the right pilot, he can do well. His ability to start with 2 attack at the start of the game is big. That was a nice little buff to him. Being able to transfer negative status effects from him to other players is huge. So if he's going against Cursed Pirate, Pyromancer who has Burn, transfer that over to the Pyromancer. That's big. He has Protect. He is very resourceful in terms of drawing cards, gaining more CP. He can do well. However, his offense is a little lacking. He is reliant on that targeted. He is reliant on protect. He is very reliant on outside factors. So with the right pilot, he can do well. I have seen him in top 8. He can do well overall. Now, finally, Seraph. So Seraph, everyone believes that I would put her right here in challenge, and that could not be further from the truth, in my own opinion. So, in my opinion, she is meta. She is strong. However, the way I'm going to phrase it would make you seem right pilot, but I'm also going to describe why I'm going to say meta. So, her SAS effects tokens are all phenomenal. So her Blessings of Divinity allows her to not to die if she goes to 0, which actually has helped me out. Her burn ability at the start of a turn to inflict 1 damage over multiple turns has helped me out. Cleanse to get rid of powder kegs, burns, poisons, whatever you call it, gone, not a problem. And then flights. You can ask all my opponents, whoever went up against me against Seraph, how much damage I flew from them. 20 to 40 consistently. Her 6-6 card helps her get those flights. Try again. Helps with the flights. So Wild, what Tippet, all these cards help prevent getting all that damage towards her. Yes, her offense is slightly lacking. When I say slightly, I mean a little bit. It's under the average. She's dealing 6 damage, ideally, 6 to 8 damage. But her ability to sustain and turtle up and having more health at the end of 30 minutes. And that's a big factor, is that, yes, over time, she's not going to win against opponents who can eventually do damage. But she is a great counter to, again, Shadow Thief. Can be a decent counter against Monk. She's not great against Pyromancer Artificer that does consistent high damage. But Paladin, I love a Seraph versus Paladin matchup because he does big attacks every so often. Um, her defense, upgraded defense, is great, dealing 3 damage instead of 2. Um, so, yes, should she probably go here, but I'm going to be a little biased in this one. Seraph is, I think, meta, and a lot of people are sleeping on her. Next, we have Krampus. I think with the right pilot, he can do well. His extra cards for the toys can be really good. If you can get them consistently, get those gifts out there. If his engine is rolling, he can do extremely well and hit very hard. I think Santa is a little bit of a challenge. He is similar to Barbarian, however, he doesn't really have that same style as Barbarian, you could say. Yes, his cards or his abilities will either prevent someone or allow him to get a 6. He does all right. He's a little bit of a challenge overall. You don't see a whole lot of people bring Santa. If they do, he's not going extremely high in the rankings as well. So that is it for Season 1 and Season 2, plus Santa v. Krampus. And now we have Marvel. So we'll get the first one out of the way. This is actually going to be the last band, and that is Thor. So overall, in my own personal opinion, that is the, going left to right, the auto bans. Thor is an auto ban. If you see Thor, it doesn't matter if Pyromancer's in there, it doesn't matter if Artificer's in there, anyone else, Thor is banned. And it's because his leaflet was way too strong for what it did. And the reason why you can say that is because with the new Kickstarter coming out, they have changed his leaflet to not to be as efficient, especially with electrokinesis. With guard break, his leaflet has toned him down quite a bit, which shows how strong he was. And so, if you saw Thor, that was one that you needed to ban, because otherwise people would choose Thor and then just roll you over. You had to make sure to get rid of Thor best you could. Next, Spider-Man challenge. Similar reason as to Thor. They looked at Spider-Man's abilities, his webbed, and realized that he needed a little bit of a change of a leaflet. And so people did bring him, but not very many people. If they did, they may have found a little bit of a struggle trying to win with him. I think he has some great ideas. That double defense is interesting, similar to Shadow Thief, but he was a challenge overall. Scarlet Witch, I think with the right pilot, she can do really well. She does not like getting hit hard with high amount of damage. So going against, let's say, Pyromancer, Artificer, Monk, Thor, any of these kind of characters, she's going to struggle with. She's going to struggle with Barbarian with that high damage. Yes, she can manipulate dice. Yes, she can remove a die. However, I found that's just more of an inconvenience rather than a completely whiff overall. If Barbarian gets that, okay, that's fine. I'll just smack you around a little more or a little less. That's not a big deal. Seraph, not a big deal. It's just an inconvenience, I think, overall. Yes, she hits hard. Yes, she can do some interesting things, but I don't think they're really game-worthy either. Black Widow, I think, is also a right pilot. The problem with her, similar to Shadow Thief, is that she wants time. Again, you have 30 minutes for these ranked plays. You don't have a long period of time to get her engine going. And so part of her problem, which is also her shtick, which I think is also very interesting overall, I think fully when she's fully upgraded, she is extremely strong. The problem is, imagine every single time you're using your covert ops to search through the deck, find the one you want, reshuffle, cut the deck, continue on playing, and keep on doing that over multiple turns. It slows the game down. Her agility is good, absolutely. Her time bombs also good, however a little delayed as well. She's just a slow character. With the right pilot, she's going to do very well. However, just keep in mind that time is working against you. Um, I always forget her name. Captain Marvel. Um, I never do well with her. I think she does. She is a cheap version of the Pyromancer. I think her abilities, her burn damage, solar flares, cosmic ray, uh, is good. She does high damage. She does all right. I think with the right pilot, she can do well. I did not see a lot of her. Instead, I saw a lot of Pyromancer. That may be just because Dice Throne is a lot of new to a lot of newer people. So maybe next time around, we're going to see more of her. We'll see. Loki. I saw a lot of Lokis out there. I think that's just because he's part of that main Marvel 4 character box. I He's a mix between meta and a right pilot for me. Um, Meta mainly because if you are not hitting him, if he's getting a lot of illusions, which is not particularly hard for him to get, you're going to be doing a lot of half or no damage. Similar to Paladin, that is rough. Similar to Seraph, that's rough. And then he can hit very hard. His big issues would be getting those illusions, trying to maintain the amount of damage that's being dealt up against him. If he's going against Barbarian, doing high damage over a short amount of time, it's going to be rough. He likes to extend the game. 30 minutes is going to be a little rough for you as well. Doctor Strange, I faced him a few times, beat him each time. I think he is strong. I think the players that used him were good and used him well. I think it just takes the right pilot to make him do pretty well overall. He only wants a couple abilities. His dice rolls are pretty rough. Uh, it's He does well, but with the right pilot, he needs those deja vus in order to re-roll just in case, which is again another strong ability for him. And then finally, Black Panther. He was also for that one Dice Throner. I believe he used Moon Elf, Vampire Lord, and Black Panther. He might have changed it up, but I think those are the three that he has used a lot of times. Black Panther is really good with that resourcefulness of getting those 8 or 7 tokens, blasting your opponent for damage, gaining CP, drawing cards, which is good. I think of what stats effects is really a big hindrance against him. With the right pilot, you can do well. Uh, he can hit hard at times, do some defense, but he doesn't want to take a lot of damage because if you're doing 1 damage to him or 16 damage against him, he's only getting 1 status effect. So he is going to struggle against Monk, Pyromancer, Thor, Artificer, Curse Pirate, maybe a Shadow Thief if they're high on CP. That's going to be dealing big damage to the Black Panther. Um, so overall, this is my rankings of the various characters for Dice Throne pre X-Men, um, based on how I saw Dice Throne for ranked play Age of Destruction. If you disagree, if you have similar comments or different comments, let me know. I know a lot of people are going to argue about Seraph. However, I think she is just absolutely phenomenal. For the characters that I brought for the first 4 tournaments that I went to, I brought Seraph, I brought Paladin, and I brought Thor. So my reason behind that was because Thor was an auto ban. I thought if anyone was going to ban one of my characters, I can guarantee Thor, which would mean that, okay, I'm going to play with Paladin and Seraph. So Paladin is going to go do that undefendable damage. Can turtle up a little bit, can heal. And then if I'm going to go up against someone that's not these two specifically, if I'm going to go against Shadow Thief, if I'm going to go against Cursed Pirate maybe, or any of these characters down here that are not going to do a lot of consistent damage, high consistent damage, I go Seraph. Or if they want to do a lot of negative status effects, that's fine. I'll cleanse it all off. Not a big deal. And then for my last tournament, just because I wanted to see what it was going to be like without Thor, I brought Barbarian instead. So I brought Barbarian, Paladin, and Seraph. And I actually used Barbarian for each of my games up to the final game. And then for the last one, it was a Seraph v Monk. And for that game, I just I ran out of steam. Let's just say that, and I was going against Jackson Navarro, ranked number 3, extremely good player. Um, he was a tough one to play against, and I think he banned Thor, and so I think next time we'll see who I want to bring overall. Or no, not Thor. He banned Paladin, so I have my choices: Barbarian, I think, and Seraph. I went Seraph on that. So let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. If you agree, disagree, but for a 30-minute time frame, health being a major factor, you can see healing is a big factor in all of that. So we'll see y'all next time. Take care.